Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm. We continue on with our derivation. What is sensorality? What is a sensor? How is censorship defined? So my rights continue to be violated, again continuing to emphasize the fraud, racketeering, conspiracy, specifically to the academic community. You guys are all pathetic people who wanted to be a big scientist and mathematician and physicist, and now you have legal obligations to disseminate the progress of that science pursuant to Article 1, Section 8, Clause 8 of the United States Constitution, and obviously you don't care, nobody cares, there are no values. I remain to be the victim of profound and extensive felonies, left, right, forward, backwards, upside down, backflip, squared, around the corner, 360. No one cares, moving along. Continuing to emphasize historically, as simply as I state the crimes against me, that is how severe they are. I'm in jurisdictions where I've been swatted, I'm in jurisdictions where I've been scapegoated, so I cannot articulate in any sort of serious manner the severity of the crimes being committed against me. With that being said, moving along with our derivation. So kind of where I wanted to start today is not a super big aspect, but it's certainly a logical one that has been relevant to recent time frames. Again, all of conceptual history, human beings have been experiencing the same things in the same form. So regardless of the time frame, right, there is chronology. Things do happen in a given order. There is ordinality, but the way people describe experience is pretty independent of time. Again, human beings being in our modern form, more or less, for at least like 300-ish thousand years. Again, super broad archaeological, anatomical type of time frames. And then the entire logical structure we have is slang. And so we've had this used logically and directly of singularity, right? Is the center of a black hole a singularity? When artificial general intelligence becomes a thing which it can't be because life is working memory, we're going to reach a singularity, right? So we have this word singularity, again, the emphasizing the syllability, but singular, right? Singular with an ITY at the end. And so what is one thing, right? This is that unique, this containment of information of previous phase changes, right? One too many is this natural counting system. When people say singularity, again, it was something in the past, this universal physical phase change and stabilization of R1. One thing is a singularity. And so that was in the past. People use that really naturally wrong. But it's one of these things where people just say singularity, and it's just like, it's just not used properly, right? There was a singularity. There's not going to be a singularity. There's not a singularity at the center of a black hole. Black holes are not even, again, that interesting. They're just very stable spheres. Again, the reason they don't radiate light is because light is not a photon traveling some distance. They just don't move very much. They're very, very dense, stable things. And so, right, what is entropy to radiation? Again, the radiation, because again, conceptually where we're at there, again, for the derivation of sensorality, the conceptualization is completely resolved. Is, again, scintillation is the right word. Mass is the thing moving. Mass is the only thing, right? Light is not a thing logically, and then radiation, right? We're still trying to, like, there's still some conceptual just framework going on there for our derivation of sensorality, but a photon is not moving through space. The only thing is mass. But point being, logically, singularity was the state of the past. What is R1, just the real progression of the universal phase changes. One too many in our counting system. The dynamic limits, again, the Fibonacci sequence. The base E numerically, 2.7 and change, and then pi. And so logically, right, singularity, one thing, duality, two things, multiplicity, many things. And so that's where we're at. Multiplicity, multipliability, this overall complete ordinality of operation, right? PEMDAS, why do we have exponentiation first? We went through that directly, explicitly recently, but just really wanting to cover the directness of what a singularity was and how people don't use the correct logic of, again, the artificial general intelligence in the center of a black hole. Moving along with our steps. What is appropriation to aggregation? What is appropriation to mitigation? Agitation is irritation. Natural definition. Sensorality agitates. Sensorality is agitality. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is agitation to agility? What is irritation to what is irritation to irrigation? Is irrigation irregular? Is irrationality irregular? Sensorality is irregularity. Natural definition. The syllability here, actually, again, I didn't write it down explicitly, but it's striking me as like the conjugation pattern for verbs in French. Right, you have the er, the s, ons, uzon, that other like little rhyming thing for, I don't want to say it's like ir verbs, but this irr is directly striking me as that conjugation pattern from regular French verbs. But is irrationality irregular? Again, this logical inversion to linguistic pairing is what we're demonstrating explicitly. That's why we've had all of these, is 7 11, is 7 even, is 11 even, all of these seemingly direct contradictory statements. Because again, we're reducing, we're going backwards, we're like uniterating the language. Sensorality is irregularity. Natural definition, direct iteration. Chirality is irregular. What is chirality to organicality? What is organicality to naturality? Is sensation natural? What is naturality to nationality? What is irritation to hesitation? What is hesitation to situation? Positioning is situating. Natural definition. What is contemplation to reverberation? Do verbs reverberate? Reverberation berates. Direct iteration. What is definition to operation? Sensorality defines operation. Direct iteration. What is operation to opportunity? Sensorality is the tune of opportunity. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is definition to defamation? What is tuning to sensing? What is sensing to lensing? What is lensing to singing? Again, this physical object, a lens, a sensor, that syllability is a direct, meaningful identity. We've come across it before, but whenever I think, what is sensorality, and I see the word lens, it's like, this syllability is a big thing. And then lensing ends in sing. What's lensing to singing? Sensorality is lensing. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality is lending. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is lending to spending? What is lensing to eclipsing? Sensorality is gravitational lensing. Natural definition, direct iteration, again emphasizing this historical consolidation, gravitational lensing. What is scale to scope? Fundamental theorem, liability is culpability. Natural definition. Sensorality is culpability. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is chore to shore? Is a shore an edge? Is a beach a shore? Beach each easy. Sensorality reaches the beach. Direct iteration. Again, our finalizing, stabilizing step is not some big convoluted, complicated, logical nuance. It's just a direct statement of syllability. What is a shoreline to a skyline? Sensorality is a stepping stone. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is a skip to a step? Sensorality skips steps. Direct iteration. Is quality unique? Direct iteration, emphasizing explicitly at this step here, the QUA and the QUE, quality to unique. Direct iteration, again, of our base E and our inverse A. Sensorality generalizes uniqueness. Direct iteration, conceptually containing and generalizing speciality's infinite uniqueness. Sensorality generalizes uniqueness. Sensorality is unique quality. Natural definition, direct iteration. Unique quality is special. Special essence is quality. Again, kind of emphasizing I just naturally slurred to that sh type of sounding. Special essence is quality, natural definition, and that's the complete logical unique response to what is quality totally. Probably hard to appreciate that, but it is. Sensorality is the essence of special sense. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is position to population? Sensorality populates. Sensorality is populationality. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is population to sensation? What is a popsicle to an icicle? What is population to generation? What is generation to sensation? Sensorality is generative. Is generative agentic? Right, we have our generative AI, we have our agentic AI. What is generative to quantitative? Sensorality is quantitative. Natural definition, direct iteration, again emphasizing the ordinality, meaning what is quantitative to qualitative? Right? Quantity, quality, emphasizing the order in which that was presented, quantity, then quality. What is quantitative to qualitative? Sensorality is qualitative. What is expectation to anticipation? What is satisfaction to expectation? Sensorality satisfies expectation. Direct iteration. What is satisfaction to suffocation? What is focus to suffocation? Direct iteration. What is identity to feeling? What is feeling to felony? Direct iteration. Is felony sensory? Sensorality is feloniosity. Is velocity a felony? If you go fast enough, it is. What is a felony to a misdemeanor? Sensorality is misdemeanorality. Natural definition, direct iteration, emphasizing the structure of the word, mis, prefix, d, kind of always a prefix, mean, or ality. Are misdemeanors demeaning? Direct iteration. What is demeanor to misdemeanor? Sensorality is demeanorality. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is cardinality to cardinal sin? So now emphasizing big historical linguistic, we have this natural dichotomy to how severe a crime is. Historically, cardinal sin versus mortal sin. Currently, felony versus misdemeanor. And then logically, the application, if you said, what is cardinality, that's going to come with a mathematical context. But we already have a legal differentiation historically, certainly came before, or chronologically came before. But what is cardinality to cardinal sin? What is cardinality to mortality? What is sin to liability? Fundamental theorem of legality, cardinality is misdemeanorality. Natural definition, direct iteration, huge linguistic historical step there. Mortality is serious, right? A cardinal sin is not super serious. A mortal sin is serious. Misdemeanors are crimes, enough in which we will articulate, hey, you can be legally punished for this, you can be fined for this, but it's not going to enable, lethal punishment or severe punishment. It's like we have a very clear violation of consent severe enough where it's grave bodily harm, property damage, so on and so forth, and then it's just like petty theft is like, Then we have our wonderful law enforcement agents not knowing that and just going execution squad on petty theft. It's like, wow, we're really missing the whole boat of everything. But linguistically, logically, historically, cardinality is misdemeanorality. And now, again, this uniqueness, this infinite uniqueness, but this fermions can't stack on one another. You can't have the same syllability in the same context mean different things, right? Functions are consistent. That kind of uses up the conceptualization of what cardinality is. And you go to math class and say, that's a cardinal number. It's like, it's a slang association of where cardinality is naturally defined. Mortality is serious. Sensorality is mortality. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is mortality to felony? Again, emphasizing that historical context. What is normality to mortality? Sensorality is delirious. Sensorality is deliriosity. Natural definition, direct iteration. Is religious delirious? Direct iteration. What is delusion to delirium? Sensorality is delusionality. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality is delulu. Ugh, that's not one of the ones I like. We won't be saying delulu 6 or 7 times. I really don't like that one. Sensorality is severity. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is severity to extremity? Severing cuts, severing divides. What is severing to sevening? Direct iteration, again that R to the N relationship. What is severing to serving? Direct iteration. Sensorality is cautionary. Sensorality is a cautionary tale. Direct iteration, natural definition. Sensorality is perverse consent. Sensorality perverses consent, right? Crime is the perversion of consent. Direct iteration. What is perversion to preservation? What is perversion to contortion? Sensorality contorts. Sensorality is contortionality. Natural definition, direct iteration. Heavy emphasis, again linguistically, tort, liability, contortion, extortion. What is contortion to extortion? Sensorality is contortality. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is contortion to contraction? Contorting twists. Sensorality is contorting. Sensorality twists and turns. Direct iteration. What is contortion to torsion? What is torsion to tension? Does tension twist? Is twisting rotating? Does twisting roll? What is contortion to contrition? Sensorality is an act of contrition. Natural definition, direct iteration. Contortion bends over backwards. Direct iteration, directly literally. What does a contortionist do? Bends over backwards. What is contortion to confliction? Sensorality is conflicted. Conflicted is confused. Hypocrisy is conflicted. Natural definition. What is confliction to infliction? What is infliction to affliction? What is confliction to affliction? Is censorship accepting? What is sensation to acceptance? What is sensation to censorship? Direct iteration. What is censorship to sportsmanship? Again, emphasizing censorship with a C, one of these well-defined, or again, not well-defined, or is it well-defined, or the context in which we are proving one of our primary elements. Right? Censorship with a C contains the entire letter structure of censor with an S and the entire letter structure of chip. Censorship is censorship. That seems like our most relevant linguistic differentiation in the totality of sensorality at this point. We just need the right context, right, the right conceptualization, and the right chronology progression to iterate this linguistic word form, this sentence, this word structure, to finalize, to stabilize this unique syllability associated to conceptualization. What is a censor? Sensorality is sportsmanshipality. What is sportsmanship to gamesmanship? What is gamesmanship to outdoorsmanship? Sensorality is outdoorsmanshipality. Natural definition, direct iteration. Again, a big amalgamation, well-defined. Outdoors man, shipality. But very discrete in our syllability chunks, even some complete words. What is a ship to a door? What is a door to a chip? Right, a chip off the old door. Is a door a block? Sensorality skips shipping. Direct iteration. Is that physically possible? Can you skip shipping? Doesn't matter. Just consistent linguistics, and it'll pair directly to sensorality, or what a censor is, because it's this minimization of progression. We are minimizing proliferation. And it's still 7 years of continuous derivation. Nice. And my whole life is ruined. Awesome. Sensorality skips shipping. Sensorality jumps ship. Direct iteration. Abandonment jumps ship. Abortion jumps ship. Abandoning is aborting. Natural definition. What is aborting to contorting? Aborting is the opposite of continuing. What is continuing to containing? What is containing to concerning? Again, overall, we're just going to find the direct inverse, the direct opposite of sensorality, and that will give us our definition. What is continuing to containing? What is containing to concerning? Perversion is disconcerting. Disconcerting is concerning. Natural definition, direct iteration. Are concerts disconcerting? Direct iteration. Does inversion alternate? Does alternating abandon? Mitigation is the opposite of escalation. Again, that's a big, form, pair, escalation to scale. Very clearly, that complete syllability of scale is the first 5 letters of escalation. And then we see how this iteration works again. Generosity to energy, scale to escalation. It's like you have one chunk and then you move a letter. Again, we're getting this total form of iteration. And then it'll just be a direct, simple statement of what sensorality is. So it's truly the entirety of what you can prove. This is the whole logical structure that is present anywhere. Well, for human beings, but all of the results immediately generalize what we call elementality. Again, this physical spacing present because of discrete things, charge stabilized into mass, density being definite. It's a unique geometric progression outside of the actual meaning itself. Right? You can only make so many sounds physically. Moving along. Does inversion alternate? Does alternating abandon? Is escalatory sensory? Sensorality is a sense of scale. Natural definition, direct iteration. So I wanted to return to our prime suspect, who is a definite criminal, Sean Carroll. Why is he not in jail? Genuinely. But to his conversation with Peter Singer, explicitly, one of our points that we pointed out in the last episodes, he says, you're definitely wrong if you don't say the universe is expanding. Again, there's a couple things going on actually. The universe is literally everything. Every physical thing is bounded, again, mathematically by what we call infinity, but that's physically the information input. There's just a minimum speed and there's a maximum speed of how much information can be accumulated, can be transmitted. And so when you say it sounds simple, the universe is expanding. The immediate intuition is again, if you have a balloon and you inflate the balloon, is like that actual expansion, or all points is that proportionality being preserved as it's inflating. And so to say the universe is expanding is a statement of violation of the conservation of mass, right? It's to say the universe is expanding, there are more things. That's not possible, no. And so this is another one of those statements that even our great scientist over at Hopkins, has no idea what he's saying. The universe is well defined physically and mathematically. It's everything. Our knowledge of everything is limited. And then to say that's expanding, it's one of these things where it's such a huge question. We have no logical structure to answer past what people. And so now this is back to me personally understanding what they mean conceptually and intuitively. Everything people say when they say the universe, they're really talking about a locality, because all of our information and logical structure is bounded. And so when things cool down, they get closer, they contract. So we have this dichotomy in cosmology where people will say things are getting further away faster. That's the empirical evidence. The dichotomy is that can be either expansion, meaning things getting away from one another, or things getting closer to one another. But it's just this relationship of locality, right? Our galaxy acts as a locality in relation to other galaxies. Our solar system acts as a locality to other planets or other stars within the galaxy. And so when you're saying the universe is expanding or contracting is such a huge statement, what I'm responding to and proving, again, is the logical output of ontology of physicists throughout history. It's not expanding. It's not even a statement that could make any sense. We don't know what the universe is, and there is no logical linguistic structure to articulate, talk about anything. And so when people say in physics right now, Harvard, Hopkins, Cambridge combined, when they say universe, they mean locality, which is still a valid question. right? Is our locality, what people call the observable universe, expanding or contracting, or you're not creating more mass. And then you're back to the direct analogy, are points on are the atoms of a balloon when you inflate it, like expanding and contracting, or are they proportionally kind of moving together? And so what people call the observable universe is moving together. But there's some more further resolution. Again, we have complete conceptual resolution. There's no point to really talk on these things that much. But when he says the universe is expanding, the universe well defined physically and mathematically, and then expansion, what is expansion to movement? What is expansion to suspension? It's just a very, very poor statement overall. And what they say is the universe is expanding. Nope, things are cooling down, things are contracting. Moving along. What is scale to sense? What is scale to proportion? Sensorality scales proportion. Direct iteration. What is a can to a ship? What is a can to a chip? Coming right. This phrasing, kick the can. Whether someone dies, they kick the can. Whether they procrastinate, they kick the can down the road. I mean, it's a phrasing, simple phrasing that gets used a lot. What is a can to a chip? And then the obvious noun to verb relationship in English. I have a can of pop. I can do something. Sensorality kicks the can. Direct iteration. What is kicking to licking? What is a kickflip to a pop shove it? Right? Bop it. Twist it. Turn it. That just pops into my mind every time we say pop. Just bop it. Nice. What is duality to dichotomy? Sensorality is a choke point. Natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality is chokeability. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is chartering to choking? What is a chart to a chip? Choking is restricting. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is restriction to resistance? Direct iteration, again, huge physical word, resistance, all things not movement, all things viscosity, all things entropy, resistance. Well, entropy is produced because of resistance. But what is resistance to restriction? Sensorality is restrictionality, natural definition, direct iteration. Sensorality is strict censorship, natural definition, direct iteration. What is discretion to restriction? Viewer discretion is advised. Is tension strict? What is constriction to description? Detailing describes. Sensorality is a scribe's tale. Sensorality is an old wives' tale. Natural definition, direct iteration. What is a card to a chart? So that is where we finished up with our derivation. Again, sensorality is being used to generate this linguistic form in which the direct iteration is undeniable, to the point where you could walk down the street and ask somebody a simple question and they will answer and solve sensorality for me. But again, I've already done the completion thing. My rights continue to be violated. It has destroyed my entire life. It continues to destroy my health. As I said at the beginning, how simply and direct I state the crimes is how severe they are, because I don't know what to do. Right? I would be at the State House with a little picket. It is very clear that I am not allowed to do anything. Nobody's allowed to interact with me for any capacity, and everybody follows false authority. Everybody is so disgusting in their own personal development and immaturity, they very literally couldn't care. I mean, I've directly interacted with that behavior my entire life, where people directly know they're doing something wrong, they directly know they're doing something illegal, and it's just like up, social pressure up, and then they just like push it away, and then they don't have to deal with it because there's no law enforcement. Again, the amount of casual to not casual fraud, racketeering, conspiracy, it just happens everywhere. And then people say, oh, I'm going to sue you, oh, I'm going to do this. Court is just another group of people, a jury is just another group of people, and you can never get away from this. Again, this immaturity that is pervasive through the entire species. The expected behavior is to lie, cheat, and steal, compete over nothing, and say, I'm great. And then nobody legitimately has the emotional development to make good decisions. Like legitimately, there is no moral capacity within a species that play games all day, competes over nothing, and they're bolstered and insulated by a society where you can go to the grocery store and buy any food you want in 5 seconds. Like our society is extremely privileged and people are extremely savage and they compete over nothing. And it's just, I've been scapegoated by an entire community of people. Again, emphasizing I'm being held against my will. It is illegal. And I'm truly afraid to continue to articulate the crimes because of retribution, because you take a pathetic person, they get offended for 5 seconds, they exert any authority over you. We've already gone over this with every interaction I've had with police officers, of me literally just existing, doing nothing besides existing. My neighbors threaten to kill me. I'm the victim of racketeering, conspiracy, and fraud every day. Go to the FBI office, they're all jiggling around their guns, and I'm literally just like, here is a piece of paper. So to those guys, hey guys at the FBI, have you guys watched a video yet? Have you guys realized that language is consistent? Right, and words have meaning, and that's literally all I'm doing, and it's my property, and I produce more, again, the public terms of the Millennium Prize problems, the amount of contractually owed money to me of just by public satisfied terms of contracts, publicly posted, is about $25 million. And so it's like, don't you see how like not giving me my money, and then I can't even buy food, and I can't pay my bills, and it's just like, and it's directly illegal? Then if you go steal $1,200 from a department store, sirens blasting, there's Elaine Bryant, there's Gary Lewis Jr., there's James Gilbert. They're all, the boys in blue are rolling heavy. Right? So what about $25 million of direct property damage? Directly, immediately. This is a math proof. This is more rigorously proven than anything else that exists. No one cares. There's no law enforcement. There's no maturity. There's no morality. I'm surrounded by lawyers, James Ryan. I'm surrounded by failures of people of my generation, Tim Doon, Richard Reese, that works at James Ryan's law firm. When does the law count? When does Tim Doon, a medical doctor, got a license from a state while stealing from me, while defaming my character, while ruining my ability to have a life? Then he goes and he practices medicine, and it's still my constitutional right. Hey, do you prescribe cannabis, Dr. Doon? Well, that's fraud, racketeering, conspiracy. Go fuck yourself. I mean, like at some point, people have to take responsibility for their actions. People are too stupid to know how to behave. And here's a math proof. If you can't articulate the theorems that are proven, you can't even start. You're not competent. What do we do, guys? When does the law make any sense? When do we enforce the law? I want every charge, I want every criminal to face consequences for their crimes. No one cares. Nothing's ever going to change. No one's ever going to pay me any money. I will never have the ability to buy food and take care of my own health. It is not possible. In this wonderful land of the free, home of the brave, where our great governor, Michael DeWine, stands up for the little guy in Beaver Creek, Ohio. You have Buc-ee's. Here's a mini mart that's functioning. And here's another company. And Brad can't even buy any food anywhere. I can't buy food at the Beaver Creek mini mart or at Buc-ee's. I can't afford anything ever. I've been held against my will legitimately and forced servitude legitimately since 2017. My whole life, truly, but with definitive property just sitting there. Like, why can't somebody do something ever? And then again, I live in an immediate environment where I'm over here trying to sell a couch for $1,500, which I just sold. That was pretty good. And I have to sell some washing machine and a dryer. And I have to sell all of the furniture that I furnished my house with that is historical property. So again, the amount of damages that I'm incurring is it's just profound. Obviously, nobody cares. That is what I have for right now. And yeah, my life is ruined. It always has been. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one.